Well, hello everyone. Today I'm going to be going over some clear and simple steps to how to wheelie to a 300cc. Let's go. Alright, so a couple quick things to keep in mind. First off, find an area that you have a good amount of room. Find the best area you can in your town, parking lots, empty spaces, specifically industrial areas like warehouses and stuff. Those are perfect. Secondly, make sure you have a motorcycle license, right? You know, make sure you can ride a motorcycle first, okay? Obviously. And then thirdly, wear some gear, okay? I know I'm not in full gear. I've been doing this a little bit, so I'm more comfortable not wearing full gear. But if you're doing this, trying it out for the first time, that's when you're most likely gonna have an accident. So wear your gear. Let's get into it. All right, so first things first, as I'm cruising around the lot here, let's note some key differences between wheeling a 300cc versus anything else, like a bigger, higher displacement motorcycle. So firstly, you can't power wheelie these bikes like you can larger displacement. So what that means is, bigger displacement, they got more power, more torque, a lot more to work with coming out of the rear wheel, okay? And so they can utilize just the power from the throttle to get that front wheel off the ground. From my experience, you cannot do that on these small displacement motorcycles, okay? I've tried it multiple times. Doesn't usually work, okay? Secondly, you're going to have to utilize the clutch up wheelie style of doing a wheelie, okay? And we'll see what that is here a little bit later. But you have to rely on balance and movement of your body a little bit more than you do on the other bikes, because they can just bring you up by pulling the throttle down, okay? So keep those things in mind, all right? All right, so I am on my 2019 Honda CBR 300R. So your bike hopefully is somewhat similar. 400s are probably in about this same category. However, they do have a little more power. They can probably get those power wheelies up a couple times. So keep that in mind. So first things first, as any wheelie video is going to tell you, you need to cover your rear brake when you are practicing these wheelies. See, I have always got my foot on the rear brake when I am going to do a wheelie, all right? And the reason being is because your rear brake slows down, your brake discs slow down that rear tire. So when you are going up on a wheelie, if your rear tire tries to move a little bit too fast, that's when you're gonna do a loop-de-doop-de, and we don't want that when you're doing a wheelie. That's about the worst outcome, one of the worst outcomes. So if your rear tire moves too quick, or you feel like you're starting to get more in that 12 o'clock range, you know, and you're getting too high up, too leaned back, that's when the rear brake comes in action, because when you hit that rear brake, you're essentially counterbalancing the throttle. Your throttle is what's bringing you up, your rear brake is what's bringing you down. A lot of people have the misconception that letting off the throttle is what brings you down quicker, which it does, but that rear brake is going to be your primary control point, okay? Especially on these low displacement bikes. When you're going to start our first wheelie, please don't try and overdo it, okay? Just try and get the front wheel off the ground first and foremost, and then after that you can progressively get better. I'm not a skilled wheelieist myself even, you know, I can keep them up there for a second or two, a couple seconds, but firstly, just get that wheel off the ground, okay? Start easy and then move into the harder stuff. So, let's get into the technicalities. What I'm gonna do is I usually go around 10 to 12, even up to like 14 miles an hour. I cruise at 14 miles an hour. I am in first gear, okay? I stay in first gear. Bigger bikes will usually do this, but you'll go into second gear just to have a little bit less torque. But again, on these 300s, you can get away with a lot more than that. So I stay in first gear. I cruise up and around 10 to 14 miles an hour, sometimes even a little faster if I'm feeling ambitious. But what we're going to do, like I said previously, is we're going to utilize what's called a clutch up. So essentially, I'll come to a stop here and show you what the movement's going to look like on the hands. We'll go into neutral. Oh, if we don't go into second on accident. So basically, we're going to be cruising at about 10 miles an hour-ish. And what we're going to do is we're going to pull our clutch in, and we're going to rev up to about 7, 8, 9,000 RPM. I usually shoot for about 8. When you're starting off doing this the very first time, shoot for something like 7, because you want to feel it out first and see how much power your bike needs to actually get up. So once you get up to that 7-ish, whatever your ideal RPM is, then that's when you're going to drop the clutch. Okay, drop means just let it go, okay? And that's gonna bring you up, okay? So do it a couple times. I'll try and do it here where you bring your RPMs not very high, but just high enough so you can kind of feel the way the bike is tugging you. That way you can progressively build up to get a better wheelie, okay? And more stable. You don't want to overdo it on your first few times, okay? So here we go, covering that rear brake always. Sitting back on the seat as far as I can, about 10 miles an hour. And then we're going to bring it up to about 7. Feel it jerk you right as I let out the clutch there. I didn't actually even get my front wheel off the ground. But when you're practicing this yourself, you will feel yourself going back, okay? Because that's what the bike wants to go back. All right, let's do it again. I'm still not gonna bring the front wheel off the ground, okay? So 11, 12, bring it up to 7. Feel it jerk you a little bit, all right? So that's what we wanna do when we're initially starting things out, okay? And then, as we get comfortable doing that, feeling the movement, we're gonna start incorporating our body movements a little bit, and we're gonna try and get that front wheel off the ground. So, you wanna think of a wheelie, you're like, think of how it works. You're leaning the bike back, your front wheel's coming off the ground. So an easy way to assist in that is by using your body. So when you rev up, as we have the clutch in at 10 miles an hour, you rev up, you can lean forward a little bit on your forks, on your suspension. And then as you let go, you want to rear yourself, your body weight back a little bit, because when you move your body weight back, that's going to assist in decreasing the load on the front end of the bike so the wheel comes up a little bit easier, all right? Now be careful, don't go too extreme on this. Don't sit there and jerk yourself like that, because it's not going to work out well for you, okay? You might end up going too far back, or you might be hindering the load on the front end. So we're going to add that in, and we're going to go up a little higher in RPMs here and get our front wheel off the ground this time. So we're at 13, so bring it up. So our front wheel came off that time, okay? We'll do that one more time. We'll spin around. Just real short baby wheelies right now. Nothing major. We're just having fun getting our wheel off the ground, all right? That's all it is. A wheelie's a wheelie, right? That's what it's about, okay? So we're cruising up. We're gonna shift our body weight and get our front wheel off the ground. Not very far that time, but nonetheless, it still got off a little bit. Okay. All right, so we want to practice these a few times. We want to get comfortable with just getting our front wheel off the ground, okay? So we'll do these a couple more times, all right? Progressively trying to get the wheel off just a little further and holding it a little longer, okay? Woohoo! Got a little antsy with that one I did. That's all right. Now you want to be careful, right? A lot of the times when you're doing these, gosh, this traffic around here is annoying. A lot of times when you're doing these, when you're starting, you're not going to be able to use the throttle to hold yourself up. You're really just going to be bringing yourself down right away. They're going to be nice little short wheelies, little bunny hops, you want to call them that, right? But you still need to keep your foot on your rear brake, because if something happens like that last one where I went up a little higher than I wanted to, just push down on that rear brake and it'll bring you down, okay? So practice doing that, and then when you get comfortable bringing your wheel up off the ground, you have it off the ground a little bit, okay? And then what you want to start doing is utilizing your rear brake for control, and utilizing your rear brake to bring you down back to 2 wheels on the ground, 2 boots on the ground instead of 1, okay? So as you get progressing, okay, you'll want to start bringing your front wheel up, and as you're there, use your rear brake and feel that rear brake bring you back down, okay? So that's what we're gonna do this next time. We're gonna bring the wheel up, and then we're gonna use that rear brake to bring us on down. Try not to be too hard with it. Sometimes you'll come down a little hard. We wanna don't be too hard on your front forks. You don't wanna have to replace those, but we'll just bring it up and then bring it right back down with that rear brake. Let's get into this paved area. See, right up, and then right back down with that rear brake. I'm just gently pressing it, okay? You just have to press it a little bit and you will feel that brake bringing you down, okay? Do that a couple more times here. Got a car coming behind me, keep that in mind. Right? Little hops, little hops. That's all it takes, okay? All right, we'll get in the last couple here. This is meant to be a beginner video, so I do not want to get too far into it. I don't want to get past the level of my knowledge. You won't see me riding down the highway hitting dank nooners. If you don't know what that means, watch a Yammy Noob video and you will find out very soon. So please work at your own pace, everybody. This is all a learning process. You have to develop it on your own. Get comfortable riding on 2 wheels before you try any of this, okay? You just need to be progressive with it. Go easy at first, and then you'll figure it out as you start to do more and more. And again, take precautionary measures if you have to, all right? Not if you have to, do take precautionary measures. That's what I meant to say. So, all right, let's get a couple in for the end. But I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope this was informative. Let me know how you do, all right? And stay safe out there, everyone. Peace out. Woohoo! Not a bad one there.